The door creaked open just enough for me to peek inside. And there he was, Silas, my stepson, 13 years old and all gangly limbs, strumming that beat-up guitar like it was the only thing keeping his heart from shattering. His fingers bled raw from the strings, but he didn't stop, not even when the first fat drop of blood smeared the fretboard, turning the melody into something feral, a cry for help that sliced through the afternoon quiet of our creaky old house in suburban Chicago. I froze in the hallway, my hand on the knob, heart slamming against my ribs like it wanted out, because in that moment, I saw not just a kid lost in music, but a mirror of my own buried wreckage. The kind of pain that makes you play louder to drown out the ghosts. I'd come home early from the auto shop, grease still caked under my nails, expecting the usual silence after Mom. His mom, my wife of 5 years, had left for her nursing shift. But this was Silas unmasked. The boy who'd barely spoken since we buried his father 2 years back. The one who flinched at hugs and hid report cards like they were indictments. The song he was hacking out was an old folk tune, The House of the Rising Sun. But twisted angry, like he'd poured all his rage into it. I should have backed away, given him space. That's what a good stepdad does, right? But something in his hunched shoulders, the way his voice cracked on the high notes, pulled me in like a riptide. Silas. My voice came out rougher than I meant, scraping the air like sandpaper. He jolted, the guitar slipping from his lap with a discordant twang that echoed like a gunshot in the small room cluttered with comic books and half-built model airplanes. His eyes, big, stormy gray like his old man's, locked on mine, wide with terror, then fury. What the hell, Alex? Ever heard of knocking? He scrambled to wipe the blood on his jeans, but it was too late. The evidence was there, stark red against faded denim. I stepped inside, closing the door soft behind me, because whatever this was, it wasn't getting aired out in the hallway where neighbors might overhear through the thin walls. I knelt down, picking up the guitar with the care you'd give a live wire, and that's when I noticed the notebook splayed open on his bed. Pages filled with lyrics, jagged handwriting spilling secrets. Dad's ghost in the garage, tools rusted from tears, I can't cry. My throat tightened. Silas had never talked about it, not to the therapists we dragged him to, not even to his mom, Elena. She'd married me thinking I could fix the fractures in their family. A widower myself with a clean slate and steady job. But here was the truth, bleeding out in ink and strings. Kid, I said, voice low, this ain't just playing. This is screaming. And I'm listening. He snatched the notebook away, cheeks flushing crimson, but he didn't yell again. Instead, he deflated, shoulders slumping like a puppet with cut strings. You don't get it, Alex. Nobody does. It's like if I stop, it'll all crash down. I set the guitar aside and sat on the edge of his bed, the mattress dipping under my weight. The room smelled like teenage boy, sweat, and old pizza, and something sharper like regret. I thought of my own son, lost to a car wreck a decade ago. How I'd buried my grief in 12-hour shifts and cheap whiskey until Elena's smile cracked me open. I get more than you think? I murmured, reaching out tentative, my hand hovering over his shoulder. He didn't pull away. That was the first crack in the wall. From that afternoon on, I made it my mission to help him, quietly, without fanfare. I'd sneak into his room after Elena was asleep, guitar in hand, and we'd strum together, me teaching him chords I'd picked up in smoky bars back in my Navy days. Silas soaked it up like parched earth, his fingers callousing over, the bloodstains fading into scars. We'd talk, too, not the surface stuff about school or girls, but the raw underbelly. How his dad's death in that factory accident had left him feeling like half a person. How he dreamed of the old man showing up at his concert someday, front row with a proud grin. You're good, Silas. I'd tell him, meaning it fierce. Better than good. You've got fire. And in those stolen hours, something shifted in me. A warmth I hadn't felt since my boy died. A purpose that made the shop's fluorescent hum bearable. Elena noticed, of course. You're bonding, she said one night over meatloaf, her eyes soft with gratitude. She was beautiful, Elena, with her dark curls and laugh like wind chimes. But lately, our nights had grown routine, the spark dimmed by exhaustion and unspoken griefs. He's opening up to you, Alex. It's a miracle. I nodded, fork scraping the plate, guilt twisting low in my gut because it wasn't just stepdad stuff anymore. When Silas looked at me across the dinner table, his gaze lingering a beat too long, or when our hands brushed passing the salt, electricity hummed under my skin. I'd always known I was bi, brief flings in the service buried deep, but this was a minefield, wrapped in a kid who needed me whole. By summer's end, Silas had entered some local talent contest at the county fair, nerves jangling like loose change. "You think I can win?" he'd asked, sprawled on the living room rug, guitar across his chest. I ruffled his hair, now longer, falling into his eyes, and lied through my teeth. "Hell yeah, but win or not, you're showing up. That's the win." The fair was a riot of color and chaos. Ferris wheels creaking against the twilight sky, the air thick with fried dough and diesel. Elena held my hand as we watched from the crowd, her squeeze tight with pride. Silas took the stage, spotlights harsh on his pale face, and launched into an original, a haunting ballad about ghosts and second chances. His voice, raw and rising, cut through the murmurs, and for 3 minutes, the world narrowed to him alone. He didn't win. Some polished teen with auto-tune dreams took the prize, but the applause thundered genuine, and when he bounded off stage, straight into my arms, I held him too tight, too long. "You killed it, son," I whispered into his hair, inhaling the scent of sweat and triumph. Elena snapped a photo, oblivious, but Silas pulled back just enough to meet my eyes, something unspoken flickering there. Gratitude, yeah, but deeper, like recognition. That night, back home, he cornered me in the kitchen while Elena showered. "Thanks, Alex, for everything." His hug was fierce, boyish arms around my waist, and I hugged back, pulse racing traitorous. "Anytime," I said, voice gravel. But as he pulled away, our faces inches apart, I saw it. The shift, the question in his eyes mirroring the storm in mine. Fall brought changes. Silas started high school, hormones raging, friends pulling him into orbits I couldn't chart. He'd come home late, evasive, the guitar gathering dust. One night, I found him in the garage, not playing, but staring at his dad's old toolbox, tears carving tracks down his dust-streaked cheeks. "What's eating you?" I asked, sliding onto a stool beside him. He wiped his face angry. "Nothing, just school's bullshit. Kids whispering about mom and you, like you're not real family." The words landed like punches. I'd heard the murmurs at the shop, stepdad jokes, side eyes when I picked him up from practice. But hearing it from him gutted me. We talked till midnight, oil cans clinking as we shifted, and somewhere in the haze of confessions, Silas admitted it. The confusion, the dreams that woke him sweating, not about girls like the other boys bragged, but about closeness. "Like with you," he mumbled, eyes on the floor. My blood ran cold, then hot. "Silas, that's..." I stopped, words failing. Normal? Wrong? I didn't know. I'd loved men before, quiet and fleeting. But this was blood, chosen, maybe, but tangled in vows and years. "It's okay to feel lost," I said finally, hand on his knee steady. "We'll figure it. Together." He nodded, leaning into my shoulder, and we sat like that, the weight of unspoken things pressing down, beautiful and terrifying. Winter hit hard that year, snow blanketing Chicago in a hush that amplified every creak. Elena's shifts stretched longer, her exhaustion carving lines around her eyes. She'd started talking divorce. Not yelling, just quiet admissions over coffee. "We're drifting, Alex, like ships in fog." I couldn't argue. My heart was elsewhere, splintered between duty and desire. Silas and I, we kept up the music, late-night sessions evolving into something intimate. Harmonies blending, laughs spilling easy. He'd grown taller, broader, the boyish edges sharpening into young man, and God help me, I noticed. The way his laugh lit his face, the curve of his neck when he tuned strings. Betrayal brewed slow, a poison I sipped daily. Then came the night that cracked it all open. February, a blizzard raging outside, power flickering like a dying pulse. Elena was stuck at the hospital, phones dead. Silas and I huddled by the fireplace, embers casting shadows that danced wicked. He'd written a new song, dark, aching, about forbidden fires and the burn of truth. As he sang, voice low and velvet, our knees touched, and neither moved. The chorus hit, words like arrows. In the quiet, I see you, and it scares me how right it feels. Silence fell heavy when he finished, guitar forgotten. Alex, he whispered, hand finding mine, tentative. I should have pulled away. Instead, I turned, cupping his face, thumb brushing his jaw. Silas, we can't. But his eyes, pleading, silenced me. Our lips met soft, experimental. A spark that ignited the room, the storm outside paling. It was a kiss born of desperation, tasting of pine and promise, but it shattered as quick as it flared. Guilt crashed in, tidal, and I jerked back, breath ragged. This isn't. We can't do this. His face crumpled, betrayal raw. Why? Because I'm your stepson? Or because you feel it too? I fled to the kitchen, head in hands, the fire's roar mocking me. He'd followed, voice breaking. I love you, Alex. Not like a dad. Like, more. The words hung, a guillotine. I loved him too. Fierce, consuming. But it was wrong. A betrayal of Elena, of the family we'd stitched from scraps. Go to bed. I choked out. We'll talk tomorrow. He did, door slamming like a verdict. Morning brought clarity cruel. Elena home early, eyes sharp, having seen texts on Silas's phone. Innocent jams turned confessional. What's going on? She demanded, voice steel. Silas confessed in sobs, the kiss, the feelings, and I stood mute, complicit. Her slap landed on my cheek, not hard but final. You were supposed to protect him, not this. She packed that day, bags thumping downstairs, Silas wailing apologies. Mom, please, it's my fault. But she was gone by noon, tires crunching snow, leaving a void that echoed. The fallout was apocalypse slow. CPS sniffed around, whispers of impropriety, though nothing stuck. No lines crossed beyond that kiss. Silas withdrew, guitar smashed in a rage, shards like his trust. I tried to bridge it, therapy, talks, but he saw me as the villain now, the man who'd awakened something and then recoiled. You made me feel seen, he spat one night, then acted like it was a curse. I had no defense. Betrayal cut both ways, mine to Elena, his to the illusion of safety. Spring thawed the ground, but not us. Silas turned 17 in April, a birthday marked by silence. I baked a cake, lopsided, left it on the counter with a note. Proud of you always. He ate it alone, I think. Then, the letter. Found slipped under my door one dawn, his handwriting steady now. Alex, I get it, the fear. But you taught me to play through the pain, to own my voice. I'm going to California, music program at Berkeley, scholarship. Leaving next week. Not because I hate you, because I love you enough to let go. Forgive yourself. Silas. My knees buckled, tears hot and unbidden. Betrayal's sting faded to ache, the kind that reshapes you. I drove him to the airport, Greyhound station buzzing with farewells. He hugged me brief, bones pressing urgent. Write songs about us, I said, voice wrecked. The real ones. He nodded, eyes bright. I will. And Alex changed me for the better. You did that. The bus pulled away, taillights blurring in rain, and I stood there, hollowed but whole, the ghost of that kiss a scar, not a wound. Years folded like sheet music. Elena forgave in fits, weekend visits, co-parenting calls. She remarried an accountant, steady as she deserved. Silas? He burned bright. Albums raw and rising, tours threading America coast to coast. We'd email, stilted at first, then warm, sharing chords and confessions. Miss you, he'd write after a sold-out show in Austin. Miss you more, I'd reply, meaning the boy, the man, the what-ifs. Last fall, he came home. Not our home, but Chicago, a gig at a dive bar on the south side. Elena came, her new husband in tow. But it was me he sought after, backstage amid amps and sweat. Listen to this, he said, pulling me into a corner, acoustic in hand. The song was ours. Haunting, redemptive. In the room where I bled strings, you caught me falling, taught me to fly. His voice wrapped around me, and when it ended, no kiss, just a look, deep, affirming. We're good, Alex. Finally. We are. Changed forever, yeah, but for the light. In the end, love's not possession. It's the push toward wings. And in this big, bruised American heartland, that's the truest note. The drive back from the station that day was a blur of wipers slapping rain. My knuckles white on the wheel, Silas's absence a hole punched through the cab of my old Ford. Chicago's skyline loomed indifferent, steel fingers scraping clouds, while inside, my mind replayed the letter's words like a scratched record. Forgive yourself, easier said, in the quiet that followed, when the house echoed too loud with footsteps that weren't there. Elena's absence had been a mercy, in a way. She'd filed papers clean, no custody wars, just a mutual unraveling. We were holding on for him, she'd said over the phone, voice kind but final. Now let him fly. But forgiveness? That was a solo gig, notes I fumbled nightly over whiskey neat. Work at the shop kept me afloat. Torquing engines, the metallic tang of oil a balm for blistered hands. My boss, Marty, a grizzled vet with tattoos from Nam, clapped my shoulder one afternoon as I rebuilt a transmission. Heard about the kid. Rough break, Alex. But you're tougher than this rust bucket. I grunted thanks, but inside doubt gnawed. Was I? The kiss haunted dreams. Soft, inevitable. Waking me sweat damp, guilt a chain around my neck. Therapy helped. Some. Dr. Ramirez, a no-nonsense Latina with eyes like spotlights, prodding. What did you really want, Alexander? Safety or truth? I'd stare at her diplomas, muttering. Both. Always both. Silas's first postcard arrived in May. Postmarked LA. Palm trees sketched hasty. Message scrawled. City of Angels, but none as real as you. First gig tomorrow. Wish me strings. I pinned it to the fridge, a talisman against the empty chair at dinner. His calls came sporadic. Static laced from payphones, voice maturing, laced with excitement. Alex, you won't believe it, the crowd, the lights. It's like the songs come alive. I'd laugh, throat tight, urging, keep writing. Your voice matters. But unspoken hung the shadow us, what we'd stirred, then starved. Summer dragged humid, fireflies winking mockery in the yard where we'd once jammed on the porch swing. I took up the guitar myself, fingers clumsy at first, coaxing out tunes from my youth. Springsteen anthems, Dylan laments. Neighbors nodded polite when I picked up Silas's mail, forwarding demo tapes to his P.O. box. One envelope caught me. A grainy photo from his first open mic. Him mid-chord, sweat glistened, eyes fierce. On the back, this is for you, the fire you lit. My chest cracked open, tears spotting the ink. Betrayal's echo faded, replaced by pride, fierce and filial. By fall, his emails trickled in. Yahoo account, words tumbling eager. Stories of dive bars in San Diego, a producer sniffing around his tracks. It's scary, Alex, like jumping without a net. I'd reply late nights, shop lights buzzing overhead. You've got wings, kid. Use them. Elena checked in too, her life stitching new patterns. A stepdaughter now, piano lessons and PDA. He's thriving, she'd say, voice warm. Thanks to you. Guilt twisted still but softer, like scar tissue flexing. Then the call that appended it. November, wind howling off Lake Michigan. Silas's voice, edged panic. Alex, I screwed up. Big. Turned out he'd signed with a sleazy manager in LA. Promises of deals, but contracts laced with hooks. They own half my songs now, and there's this party crowd. Drugs, girls, but it's not me. He was spiraling, gigs drying up, the music turning sour. I need you, he whispered, the boy peeking through the man. Heart slamming. I booked a red-eye, Elena's blessing terse. Fix him, Alex. Like you always do. LA hit like a fever dream. Palm line sprawl, air thick with ambition and exhaust. I found him in a Fleabag motel off Sunset, room reeking of stale smoke and regret. Silas looked wrecked. Hollow cheeks, eyes shadowed, guitar case kicked into a corner. You came, he breathed, collapsing into my hug like driftwood to shore. We talked for hours, sprawled on the sagging bed, his confessions spilling. The pressure, the loneliness, how the kiss lingered like a ghost melody. I thought it'd fade, but it didn't. It made me stronger, weirder. I listened, no judgments, hand steady on his arm. You're not broken, Silas, just bent. And bends make the best songs. We drove that night, top down on a rented Mustang, wind whipping as we chased the coast highway north. Big Sur cliffs plunged dramatic, ocean roaring approval. He played for me then, raw demos from a borrowed acoustic, voice cracking on choruses about fractured families and forbidden sparks. This one's called Step Into the Light, he said, glancing sidelong. The lyrics gutted me. You caught me playing. Heart on strings / taught me love's not always what it seems / in the gray. We found our color, you and me. Tears stung, but I sang harmony, our voices weaving tentative, healing. Back in LA, I lawyered up, pro bono shark from a buddy's referral, shredding the contract. Silas fired the manager, reclaimed his masters. Feels like breathing again, he said over tacos at a hole in the wall, grin boyish. But the trip cracked more than deals. It aired the undercurrents. One evening, sunset bleeding orange over the hills, we hiked Runyon Canyon. City sprawl below like a glittering trap. Alex, he started, pausing on a ridge, breath fogging cool air. About us, that night, I don't regret it. Do you? Wind tugged his hair, and in his eyes no demand, just truth-seeking. I waited, horizon swallowing sun. Regret the pain, yeah, but not the feeling. It showed me I'm alive, really alive. He nodded, shoulder bumping mine companionable. Good, 'cause you're my North Star, stepdad or not. No kiss, no lines blurred, just connection, purified by distance. We hugged there, fierce and fraternal, the betrayal's scar gleaming silver. He bounced back fierce. A new EP by spring, indie buzz humming. Tracks charted low but loyal. Fans chanting lyrics we'd birthed in that Chicago garage. Elena beamed at downloads, sending clippings. Our boy's a star. Pride swelled, mingled with ache. He was gone, truly orbiting worlds I glimpsed from afar. But the real climax brewed quiet. His homecoming gig, 2 years post-departure, at that same South Side bar. Chicago welcomed him autumn crisp, leaves skittering like applause. I sat front row, Elena beside, her hand light on mine. Friends now, co-conspirators in his rise. Silas took stage, spotlights forgiving the lines youth had etched, voice richer, resonant. The set built electric, covers twisted personal, originals slicing souls. Then, the encore, Step Into the Light, dedicated wordless to the ones who caught me. The crowd roared as he sang, eyes finding mine across the haze, a nod subtle, profound. Post-show, chaos swirled, autographs, backslaps, but he carved path to me, pulling into a bare hug that smelled of stage smoke and home. Couldn't have without you, he murmured. Elena joined, group embrace awkward but real, the family we'd fractured mending jagged. Later, over beers at a diner, root for him, club soda for me. We laughed at old jams, the kiss a footnote, not the chapter. That's when I knew. Change isn't linear, a straight chord, but a progression dissonant, then resolved. We'd betrayed trusts, battled demons, but emerged human, scarred beautiful. Silas toured on, Alexander me rooted in the shop, but connected, always, by the strings we'd rest-rung. Life post-gig settled into rhythms forgiving. Silas's star climbed steady, not supernova but comet trail, lighting pockets of the map. Austin festivals, Brooklyn lofts, even a BBC session in London that had him phoning giddy at 4 a.m. my time. Alex, they loved it, the raw stuff. Your harmonies in my head the whole way. I'd chuckle into the receiver, coffee brewing bitter. Sing one for me, jet-lagged fool. And he would voice tinny but true, bridging oceans with melody. Elena and I, we evolved into allies seamless, holiday cards joint, her new family blending with ours in photos. Stepdaughter on violin duets with Silas via Zoom. We're okay. She'd text after his Grammy nom, best new artist, outsider shot, and damn if she wasn't right. But undercurrents stirred mine own. The shop sold, corporate buyout, fat check for early retirement. And suddenly, days stretched empty, garage silent sans ghosts. I traveled light. Amtrak to his East Coast shows, front row anonymous, pride a private swell. One night in Philly, post-set, he dragged me on stage for an impromptu duet, Dylan's Tangled Up in Blue. Crowd whooping as our voices tangled, off-key perfect. My secret weapon, he joked to the mic, arms slung my shoulder, and flashes popped, headlines later. Mystery muse or long-lost dad? We laughed it off over cheesesteaks, but the label sniff story pushing bio fodder. Keep it vague, I advised. Let the songs say it. Betrayal's ghost resurfaced sly. Though, in fan letters Silas forwarded, speculation wild. Is Alex your lover? The chemistry. He'd burn them unread, but doubt seeded. Was our bond too bright, too blurred? Therapy circled back. Dr. Ramirez retired now. Her replacement a soft-spoken guy named Theo who coaxed. Love wears masks, Alexander. Question is, does yours fit? Nights alone, guitar in lap, I'd strum what-ifs. Alternate tunes where I'd stayed in L.A., built something reckless. But truth anchored. We'd chosen right. His wings, my roots. Climax crested, unexpected. Summer scorcher in Nashville. Silas headlining a queer music fest. Ironic, given our history, when a storm hit biblical, tents shredding, crowd scattering. Backstage, chaos reigned. Gear fried, openers bailing. We're screwed, he groaned. Pacing mudslick, promoter howling budgets. Impulse struck. Let me help. I grabbed the spare acoustic, rallied the stragglers, me on rhythm, him lead, a ragtag band of roadies on percussion. We played unplugged, circle tight under a tarp, rain drumming counterpoint. The song? An oldie we jammed once, wagon wheel, but infused new, lyrics ad-libbied about storms and step-ins forward. Crowd regathered, phones aloft, the intimacy electric, raw. It went viral overnight, grainy clip hitting millions, storm-soaked serendipity trending, offers flooded, collabs, docs, even a Netflix pitch on found families and folk. Silas fielded them dazzled, but cornered me post-fest. Alex, this? It's bigger than me now. His eyes searched, vulnerability peeking, the boy who'd bled strings. What if they dig too deep? The kiss, the mess. Fear flickered mutual, betrayal's echo sharp. But I gripped his shoulders firm. Le Chingjig, we've got nothing to hide but growth. And that's the story worth telling. He nodded, exhale ragged, and in that motel room, two queens, AC humming faulty. We talked till dawn, ghosts exorcised gentle. No romance reignited, just reckoning. The kiss a catalyst, not conclusion. Our love, paternal profound, laced with the queer quiet of souls aligned. You're my anchor, he said, fist bump ceiling. And you're the sail. I shot back, sleep claiming easy. Fall brought harvest. His album drop, caught in the key, peaked billboard folk, tracks peeling our onion. Subtle nods to garages and blizzards, forgiveness in refrains. Elena hosted launch party in her new place, balloons bobbing absurd, her husband grilling veggie skewers while stepdaughter fangirled Silas's liner notes. Toasts clinked. To family, blood, chosen, mended. Later, Silas pulled me aside, gift in hand, a custom guitar, ebony inlaid with strings of us. For the jams we'll keep having, he said, hug lingering platonic, perfect. Now winter again, Chicago's bite familiar. He's in Seattle recording, snow dusting evergreens as he FaceTimes. New track, listen. Voice fills the kitchen, warm as hearth, lyrics looping home. In the room where it started, we learned to let go / changed forever. But oh, what a show. I harmonize off mic, off key, grinning foolish. Elena visits Sundays, puzzles, and pot roast. Our divorce a distant scar. Life's no ballad clean. Conflicts linger, climaxes echo. But humanistic. Yeah, we chose grace over grasp, depth over despair. And in quiet moments, guitar whispering, I forgive us all. The boy I caught playing? He's a man now, melody unbroken. We changed, tangled to true, and in America's vast, forgiving heart, that's the happily ever after worth singing.